It's time to say goodbye. With those four heartbreaking words, Venus Williams brought the tennis world to tears. After more than 2 decades of inspiring victories, unforgettable battles, and a legacy that transformed the sport forever, the 7-time Grand Slam champion has announced her emotional farewell. The crowd froze. Some cheered in gratitude, others cried in disbelief, and millions of fans watching around the globe realized that an era had truly come to an end. Venus wasn't just a player. She was a pioneer, a warrior, and a symbol of resilience for generations. And now, as she walks away from the court for the final time, the question isn't just about what she achieved. It's about what her departure means for the future of tennis. Today we dive deep into the legacy, the reactions, and the unforgettable journey of Venus Williams' stunning farewell. Before we begin, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss powerful stories like this. 1. If you love tennis and want the latest updates on legends and rising stars, don't forget to like this video and share it with fellow fans. It helps us bring you even more in-depth coverage. The farewell that shook tennis. Venus Williams' farewell wasn't just another retirement speech. It was the end of an era. Standing on center court, her voice breaking with emotion, she reflected on a journey that began more than 25 years ago when a young girl from Compton walked into the pristine lawns of Wimbledon and dared to dream bigger than the sport had ever allowed. Her final words were simple yet profound. I gave everything I had. I leave the court with no regrets. That single statement captured the essence of her career. Relentless, fearless, and groundbreaking. But why now? What led to this decision? And why has her farewell hit the tennis world so deeply? Venus Williams more than a champion. Venus's career has never been measured by trophies alone. Of course, the record speaks for itself. 7 Grand Slam singles titles, 14 Grand Slam doubles titles alongside her sister Serena, 5 Wimbledon championships, 4 Olympic gold medals, 49 WTA titles. But beyond the silverware, Venus became a cultural force. She fought for equal prize money at Wimbledon, paving the way for future generations of women in tennis. She broke barriers as a black athlete in a sport once dominated by tradition and exclusivity. She redefined what it meant to be powerful, graceful, and unapologetically fierce. How do you measure the impact of someone who not only won matches but also battles off the court? The emotional weight of goodbye. In recent years, Venus's career has been defined more by resilience than results. At 44, she was the oldest player in the WTA draw, competing against teenagers who had once grown up idolizing her. Injuries, fatigue, and the brutal reality of aging had slowed her down. Yet, every time she stepped on court, fans still believed they were witnessing something extraordinary. Her farewell wasn't just about a career ending. It was about a chapter in tennis closing. For many, Venus represented the golden age of tennis when the Williams sisters turned the sport into global theater. Her goodbye feels like losing a piece of history. Do you remember where you were when Venus lifted her first Wimbledon trophy in 2000? That moment is etched into tennis folklore, and it's exactly why her farewell feels so heavy. Reactions from around the world. The tennis community responded immediately, and the tributes were overwhelming. Serena Williams broke down in tears, calling her Venus her rock and the reason she believed she could be great. Roger Federer praised her as a pioneer whose influence will outlast any match. Result: Billie Jean King tweeted, Venus didn't just play tennis, she changed it. Fans around the world flooded social media with highlights, emotional messages, and gratitude for the decades of inspiration. The hashtag, Thank You, Venus, trended globally within minutes of her announcement. And it wasn't just tennis fans. Athletes from basketball, soccer, and track paid tribute to her influence as a role model beyond sport. Venus wasn't just a tennis champion. She was a symbol of resilience for anyone chasing an impossible dream. Legacy. Beyond tennis, Venus's farewell sparks an even bigger question. How do we define legacy in sports? Yes, trophies and stats matter, but Venus leaves behind something far greater. She gave young women the courage to fight for equality. She gave black athletes the blueprint to dominate in spaces that once felt unreachable. She gave the world a masterclass in longevity, still competing at the highest level well into her 40s. Her fashion line 11 proved athletes could be entrepreneurs. Her activism pushed boundaries for fairness in sport, and her bond with Serena redefined the meaning of sisterhood in competition. Could we ever see another player like Venus again? The turning point. So why now? Why say goodbye in 2025? Insiders say Venus had been considering retirement for months, especially after recurring injuries kept her from competing consistently. The younger generation, players like Igate Coco, Goff, and Naomi Osaka have taken center stage. And while Venus still inspired every time she walked onto the court, the results simply weren't the same. Her final match might not have been a victory, but the standing ovation she received lasted longer than most matches could ever. It wasn't about winning or losing anymore. It was about honoring everything she gave the sport. How does this change tennis? With Venus's exit, the WTA enters a new chapter. The Williams era is officially over. For 2 decades, Serena and Venus were the heartbeat of women's tennis. Their rivalries, their doubles, dominance, their charisma. It was unlike anything the sport had seen. Now the torch has been passed. Coco Gauff, for instance, has openly said Venus inspired her to pick up a racket. And you can see Venus's influence in the fearless, aggressive style of so many young stars today. But here's the question. Can women's tennis ever reach the same cultural heights without Venus? Looking back at her greatest moments to truly appreciate this farewell, we must relive some of Venus's most unforgettable moments. Wimbledon 2000, her first Grand Slam title, where she announced to the world that the Williams sisters were unstoppable. Wimbledon 2008 final versus Serena, a masterpiece of sibling rivalry, where Venus defeated her sister in a high-quality final. Equal prize money fight, her 2006 campaign that pushed Wimbledon to finally offer equal pay, changing tennis forever. Olympic glory, for gold medals